Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone present here as per your respective time zones. Welcome to a very special edition of TechM's Fireside Chat with our client Geodis and our alliance partner Celonis. I am Balvinder Kaur and I will be your host for today's Fireside Chat. We will be covering the topic Future of Warehousing Technology Disruption in this session. I hope you will find the session informative and get a holistic view on how modern warehouse is leveraging technology and improving customer satisfaction. Everyone, please note, as this is a live session, so please post your questions in the chat window, and at the end during Q&A, we will take up your questions. Please note, since we have restricted time, we will try to take up all the questions, but in case any questions are left, we will definitely reach out to you after the event and would give you appropriate responses. Everyone, please note, we are recording this session and a copy of this recording will be shared via email after this session for everyone to review. Now, let me introduce you to our elite panelists for today's session. We have with us Mr. Pal Narayanan, EVP Chief Information Officer Americas, Global CIO Board Lead from Geodis, and Mr. Charles Maddox, Vice President Operations from Geodis. Along with them, we have Ms. Mariel Fink, Senior Vice President Celonis, and Mr. Bharath Vasudevan, Chief Capability Officer for Business Process Services at Tech Mahindra. Now, I would like to hand over the dais to Mr. Bharath Vasudevan to take the session ahead. Bharath, you can please take over.
Thank you. A very good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone on the call. A great morning to my fellow panelists, Paul, Charles, Mariel. Thanks for doing this short session today. I know it's a short webinar, but we'll try and extract as much value as we can for all the participants on today's Fireside Chat. I'm going to quickly set the context in terms of this discussion today. Tech Mahindra has always prided itself in being able to drive growth as an organization that is inclusive and transformative in nature. And transformation to us means that we should have the inclination, the ability, and the drive to be able to influence business outcomes for our clients. That's really what we pride ourselves in. And as we endeavor to do that, we've tried to work with partners that bring that kind of similarity, shared vision and thinking, and the ability to execute on that vision. So it's been a wonderful partnership, Mariel, with Celonis over the last 4 years. And this particular engagement we've done for Geodis for your warehousing operations. We started this middle of 2022. We looked at just 2 of your 300 plus odd customers in the warehouse. We were able to hopefully leverage process mining as an instrument to create the right visibility for you in terms of how the warehouse is being run today, how efficient it is, and therefore how can you impact end customer outcome. So before I invite Charles and Paul to share their perspectives, because nothing speaks like how the customer speaks, Mariel, if you would like to add a few lines on this experience before I request Charles and Paul to step in, please.
Yeah, Bharath, thank you. So you alluded to the pilot that we kicked off together, but over the course of the program, Techem, Celonis, and Geodis really worked together to bring a complete end-to-end visibility of the warehouse management process to life. Analyzing kind of process data within Geodis's custom in-house WMS system, and really kind of honed in very, very quickly on identifying opportunities in the area of labor efficiency. Not only as a part of the pilot, we were able to kind of map and visualize a typical kind of order flow, but we're able to really break this down to the specific details of how individuals on the warehouse floor were able to process, pick, and ship orders at really a transactional level, so that Geodis could identify like anomalies that within an individual basis, but also look at opportunities to drive efficiency and consistency initiatives to improve cycle time. So to bring that to life a little bit, right, the pilot was able to identify a significant number of unwanted pick events from those working on the warehouse floor. And this was leading to low kind of worker efficiency. In addition, another kind of key finding that came out of this was really around the audit process. So this is where shipments with a low probability of failure were still being put through unnecessary quality checks. And in many cases, like actually failing incorrectly these quality checks, which led to an increase in throughput time. So as you started to kind of, see these things that were emerging from the data, the process excellence team was starting to identify them or call them kind of the unknown unknowns, or areas of efficiency that there wasn't any awareness to prior to really being able to, look into the transactions and look into the actual flow of the processes kind of on the shop floor. And so the level of objectivity was able to allow the teams to bring and make kind of systemic technology changes, like applying AI to that audit process or fixing master data, right, that was leading to some of those failures, but also identify like change management and training opportunities at a worker level in order to increase the efficiency. And so kind of the result of that is, it brought together kind of a cross-functional team of stakeholders. So individuals sitting across the areas of process excellence, continuous improvement, operations, finance, client services, kind of all together to look at kind of what was emerging in the patterns of the process data, and then put in place kind of opportunities to increase efficiency and effectiveness, but also look at improving end like CSAT, so end customer satisfaction, as a lot of these initiatives also then impacted end consumer fulfillment. And so, really a best practice that I think kind of emerged from that, and then I'll hand it back over to you, was bringing this cross-functional group together, right? And the governance team and the executive steering committee that came together to review findings, set priorities, and then drive kind of different sets of programs across different stakeholder groups that all could have an impact on the underlying kind of business KPIs that the group was trying to improve kind of collectively. So as we looked at the pilot and then extrapolated out into the future, I have a roadmap of emerging sets of engagements across the various stakeholder groups started to really, come to fruition in terms of increased and continuous, opportunities to influence those KPIs.
Thank you, Mariel. Thanks a lot. Charles, I'm gonna request you to come in. From a Tech Mahindra Celonis perspective, it's been an outstanding engagement. We'd like to believe that, to Mariel's point, all of what we've done is to eventually make a clear, tangible impact on your customer experience, your end customer experience. So share with us a little bit of your insights on how the pilot that we did with 2 customers and the findings that came out of it, the actions that we implemented, how are you able to scale this? Where are you seeing this impact end customer experience? Just share your perspectives, Charles, before I turn to Pal.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time. So I tell you, it really started with identifying the amount of continuous improvement activities that we had in our sustainability activities to sustain our operations. What we found during the activities of partnering with everyone is that from our perspective, we didn't realize how much lost time and or inefficiencies we had truly in our operation, because as we talked about, right, we're creating the data in a parsed out way to where we can take a bite of it, if you will, and translate it into action. So far in our operation, we've been able to save in the first 3 months $120,000 through this partnership, and we've already identified 60 plus continuous improvement activities through our partnership with leveraging the inbound and outbound partnership with Celonis and TechM.
Thank you, Charles. Thanks a lot. And where do you see this from here on? I mean, what's been the experience with respect to being able to scale the exercise, look at it at a pan Geodis level? How do you see that happening? What are some of the challenges that you're seeing there?
The challenges obviously change, right? Like change is not something that any operation or any particular individual in an operation can likes or wants to kind of deal with. So we started with the change piece, right? And so what we've done is we've created the what's in it for me activity around this. And that is showing our leaders and showing our organization exactly what they're gaining from this parsed out information and how we become more efficient, and translating it into a better flow and a better cycle time for our customers.
Thank you. And I think you made a very important point, because when you're attempting an exercise of this magnitude, I think demonstrating success, however small the pilot is absolutely crucial to being able to scale this and deliver the full impact of this. So thanks for that. Pal, I'm going to take a step back. Okay, I think Geodis has been a fantastic, growth story. I know you guys are growing globally. You managed to advance your 2023 targets. You've hit your numbers of 2022. I've also been seeing your ambition to become more international, have more global services, while at the same time reducing your ecological footprint. So tell us a little bit about it. And it's wonderful to see you guys in the warehouse as you do this fireside chat today. So tell us a little bit about, where are you seeing the world of global supply chain and logistics, and how are you seeing warehousing and effective and efficient warehousing impact your business specifically, but the industry in general? Just share some of your perspectives.
Okay, so thank you, Bharath. I've been with Geodis for the last 12 years. When I started with Geodis, we did a lot of pallet in, pallet out operations, but we also had a couple of customers, and one of the customers we are standing in this warehouse, which is a flagship customer of ours, where they started doing e-logistics or e-commerce, D2C. So the last 12, 13 years, slowly we have had customers who had pushed us slowly from pallet in, pallet out to more of e-commerce kind of operations, where the operations really evolved. We do both, but we pride ourselves as a very focused e-commerce customer. We execute that very well. And that the last 6 years also has led into a lot of labor shortages when it came down to the e-commerce and warehouse operations, which led us into a lot of automation. So the last 6 years, we have focused a lot of efforts and investment in automation from Geodis standpoint, both on robotics, auto store, and different automations throughout the life cycle of the warehouse. Where I see these things going is, the future of the warehouse is definitely a few things. Definitely real-time data and analyzing and seeing what is going on in your warehouse. I think if you're waiting for the shift to be over to analyze what happened on the shift, I think you're a little late. I think, it's a huge warehouses. When you are operating such big ones, you have to be real-time, proactive, on the fly, trying to make decisions if the process is not being followed. And the tool Celonis and what we implemented allows us to do that, mine the data real time, because this is a lot of huge amounts of data that's being collected as the warehouse operations is running through. But this tool allows us to do that very effectively and efficiently and come out with the outcome what we need. The other things which I see as a trend, we are in a warehouse, we use traditional infrastructure, but I see a lot of 5G now coming into the warehouses. Definitely chat GPT is in the future. Definitely warehouses are always slow to adopt technology, but I don't see they're too far out coming in 24 and 25. Those are the things that we see coming in the future, but our focus definitely along with that is continue to leverage the data we have with tools like Celonis and also do a lot of AI ML modeling.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for those insights. I think, some of the things that I picked up, which, we're seeing now resonate across a portfolio of clients that we work with across industries is clearly real-time visibility. I think you made a great point on that. You made a great point on how 5G is impacting warehouse operations. We work with a lot of telco clients, and we're seeing that revolution from the other side of the fence, and we couldn't agree with you more. It's interesting you also touched upon generative AI, because we don't normally discuss that in a warehousing context, but look, that's a disruption that's here to stay. We're seeing that impact businesses across their value chain, and certainly warehousing is no exception. So thank you for some of those insights.
Sure.
In wearing your hat as the CIO of this business, where are you seeing some of your priorities over the next 5 years? how do you see, I know we've started this pilot in the warehouse, but specifically in the context of process mining, process excellence itself, how do you see some of your priorities over the next, 5 odd years? Can you talk us a little bit about that from a CIO's perspective?
Sure. So one of the strategic things, like you said, GPT, you were pleasantly surprised to see that in the warehouse context. But one other thing I'll tell you, usually we do process mining traditionally in accounts payable, accounts receivable, and all the back-end office stuff. But one of the things, we made a strategic decision that we are not going to start there. We are going to start in the warehouse, because our biggest spend at Geodis is labor. We manage labor much better with tools like Celonis. It adds huge values to us. So we always, a little different when it comes to it, because we go where, our biggest bang for the buck is. And we felt from, the technology standpoint that Celonis process mining tool is very much relevant in the warehouse rather than the back office to start with. And then we'll go there next. The reason also we did this, we were good in data analytics. That is after the fact. We had a lot of data. Our quality of the data was good. We always collected data through our warehouse management system. But then our data started growing exponentially as we did a lot of e-commerce operations. We were looking for a tool that allowed us to mine this data real time, make sense of it. Because if you think about it, in this particular warehouse, in one shift, you really have millions of rows of scans the Geodis warehouse people do. It's around 200 people in this warehouse, and if we are capturing every scan they do, you have to think about it, we are capturing so much data. So our goal was to, how do we leverage this data? And again, this is not an IT alone function. This is more, you expose the data to the engineers, the process people, and the operations people. Our goal from the IT standpoint is to collect, manage, and provide the data to our end users, and then they make the decisions, we facilitate. Because if this is an IT project, it's not going to go anywhere. So that was very important strategically for us when we started this journey 3-4 years back, saying, what do we do with this data? We brought everyone inside the tent and said, hey, we have so much data we are collecting, we need to do something proactively, not the reactive ones where we build dashboard and so show it. That's where this journey started. And when we had the data and the willingness to do it, the tool was definitely very helpful. And Tech Mahindra and Celonis, you guys helped us and guided us through, frameworked it for us very clearly, saying, hey, let's go after this. You all looked at the data and said, this is where it makes sense the most. And then, we were able to, you are able to guide us through the tool, which made us more sense. And now we are self-sufficient in the tool. That's what we always want. We want to start with a partner, but definitely learn that in the process. That was our journey. Our strategic vision is continue to leverage the data to run our day-to-day operations. It might be AI, ML, it might be process mining tools like Celonis, and or the next technology. That is what we are focused on.
Thank you. Thanks, Pal. And I think, as you rightly said, the idea of the exercise is the ability for clients to be able to embed whatever we do in terms of process engineering and make it a part of the DNA of the organization, so that it is then something that you can use, as opposed to having to rely on external partners all the time to make it happen. And I think that really is the proof of the pudding. So thanks for ratifying that for us. I think you spoke about the role of your part of the organization to collect, manage, and present data. And I think especially in the context of the logistics business that you guys are in, I think that it couldn't be truer. So thanks for sharing those insights as well. Charles, we've had some great success with the pilot, and I know we're going to hopefully use this as a launching pad to do a lot more. But talk to us a little bit about the challenges that you went through from your perspective as we did this pilot, some of the learnings. So talk to us a little bit about areas that you uncovered, things that you learned. I know you touched upon change management as being critical, but just let's hear from you on some of the challenges, because I think any implementation of this nature, it's always a great learning opportunity for service providers like Tech Mahindra and Celonis to see what's come out of it, how can we do it better. So tell us a little bit about your own sort of internal challenges as well as things that you've learned out of this project.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned it, I'll mention it again, right? Change management is something that's evolution, right? It changes every single day, and you constantly got to teach or create muscle memory on how to accept the change or the information that's coming out of the change and translate it into action, right? So from a continuous improvement perspective, we need that muscle memory to continue to evolve. From there, some of the opportunities really was around collaboration, right? Like as large of a company as Geodis is, we do have a tendency, just like any company, to kind of get siloed periodically. So as Pal mentioned a moment ago around the product, the partnership with Celonis and translating the information into end user activities, we needed that process, or we needed that relationship with IT to understand exactly what we were getting. You're teaching operations, as an example, how to be data miners. Not everybody has that skill set, right? So really, Celonis and this partnership has really given us that opportunity to take a bite of the data, translate the data into operational minded statements so we can go out and execute. The other side of that is validating that some of our standard operating procedures had gaps in them. They didn't necessarily align to what our teammates are on the floor were executing against. So we took this information and it allowed us to collaborate back with our operational excellence organization and make sure that our SOPs and our teammates executed to the plan. So those are the two key drivers that come to mind, but it really falls back in line to accepting the change, accepting the data, and understanding what's in it for me. And once we sold that to our leadership and we sold it to our teammates, everyone's starting to buy into that, and we're becoming quite energetic and excited about what the opportunity brings with all this data.
Awesome. Thank you, Charles. So, what I clearly picked up is data to operations to execution, right? Managing that journey, was obviously an exciting challenge. I also understand that, look, how does what we do in one part of the process help us understand the SOPs a lot better, help us understand gaps in the SOPs, therefore the collaboration with Ops Excellence itself. And both great points, because it again speaks to the fact that unless you're creating that platform for scalability, all that you're going to get is a point solution and an outcome from the point solution, but not really the big bang full impact of what you're trying to do. So thanks for that. And I think, look, we could go on and talk about this, but I think what's clearly coming out is that this has been a strong, effective proof of concept, made a tangible impact to Geodis, and clearly we've laid the platform to be able to take that and scale it. So thanks for sharing those insights. I can see a few questions starting to come in on the chat window. I know it's a short chat, but we'd like to give the audience an opportunity to ask a few questions. So, sure. Balwinder, if you could pull out some of the key questions, maybe we can take 2 or 3 of them before we wrap up today's session.
Absolutely. So the first question came from Mr. Ajay, and he wants to know, how are Geodis customers taking the output from this project? What's their feedback?
You want to take that?
Sure. Yeah, the customers are excited about it, right? Because we're becoming more proactive with the efficiencies of our operations. So it allows for us to be more predictable in what we're providing or the end customer. So for us, it's been exciting. They're thrilled to see that we're taking that next step forward in what our logistics process looks like. But more importantly, most of our companies, especially when you get into the high tech space across the globe for that matter, they love data, right? Data is king in a lot of ways. We hear that a lot, right? So for us, and being able to translate, communicate data, and show them how we're getting proactively involved, or we're seeing gaps or roadblocks in the way, they are thrilled to see this and excited about the efficiencies it's bringing to their operations.
I think, Charles, also, to add to that, there's also just the mindset shift in terms of Geodis really being continuous, like having the mindset of like continuous innovation that you're passing on to your customers, right? Exactly. And so the fact that this wasn't just a one-time pilot, this is just one initiative in a series of many that you guys are incredibly focused on in terms of making sure that you're continuing to bring better and better services to your end customers. And this is just kind of the proof that stands behind it, which I think is an awesome testament to the business you guys are running.
Thank you. Yes.
Great. I think that answers the first question. So I'll take up the next one, which is from Mr. Adlin. And he wants to know, actually, I have some idea about the Chat GPT. So how was it useful for warehousing business? So he wants to know how Chat GPT is useful for warehousing business.
No, what I was saying, that is definitely coming into the warehousing business. Now we are trying to use, we also operate in freight forwarding, transportation management, customs house brokerage. You're seeing use cases in those lines of business, but we are yet to see, we have not yet invested time and money inside the warehouse on that technology. But definitely there is a possibility, but I'm not sure, 100% sure, I don't want to say something which I'm not sure about, that there is a possibility, but we have not yet invested time and money in that. That's what I meant, that there is a future for it, but I do not know exactly. But if he has something to share, absolutely willing to listen and to partner with him.
No, I think, look, as someone said, generative AI in some sense is like a 6-year-old, right? So it's fascinating, it's exciting, and we all know it's here to stay. But how do you teach a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Some of it is what you teach, some of it is how it evolves. So I guess that applies as much to the logistics business as it does to any of our other businesses. Thank you.
I'll take up the next question. So the next question is from Ms. Nisha. She wants to know, how do you optimize working capital in supply chain?
I think Balwinder, I'm gonna pass on that question because I think it's a relevant question, but maybe not relevant to today's fireside chat. I think it's I just want to keep today's conversation contextualized to what we've done here. I'm sure Pal, as a senior leader, has perspectives on it, but maybe that's for a different conversation, right? So why don't we pick maybe one of the other questions and then wrap up.
Okay, so I think then I address it directly to the Geodis Pal. Maybe you can take up this question. What was the biggest win in this collaboration? So what do you think is the biggest victory?
Oh, the biggest victory. I would say we were looking for partners to use the data which we had, and we were not sure, we had a gold mine of data that was good quality, real-timely available. So our biggest challenge from the IT team and the biggest win for the IT team was someone was using what we envisioned, and it came to life. So for our team, it was a great thing to see what we built was finally being used somewhere, and we were happy to see it was being productively used.
I'd like to add, if I could, right, what it gave us as operations is it gave us data that we could consume. Prior to that, like that Al mentioned, we had a gold mine of data, but now the operations can take the data and translate it and execute against it. That was huge for us, right? Because as Pal's mentioned, IT can't do it all, right? It's going to take the partnerships between all of us as organizations, and this being able to take this data and consume it has been huge for operations.
And also, Charles, just creating a common language, right, that can be used across all of the various stakeholder groups, right? So that, IT often provides a service to the rest of the organization, but you need everyone sitting around the table looking at the same thing and able to interpret it the same way. So to be able to create the context that resonates with all of the different divisions of the business to make some of those key decisions and put different types of kind of cross-collaboration programs into place, I think is a big step change also in terms of what we can do in the future and in terms of the initiatives that we take on.
Exactly.
There's still more questions left, but I think carry on, Bharath.
We had always feared that 30 minutes was going to be too short for us to cover everything about this engagement and what the future holds for us, but we're on the hour. I want to take this opportunity firstly to thank Pal and Charles and Geodis, because for all of us, there's nothing like customer speak. There's nothing like our customers telling us their experiences, sharing the success, and sharing with the wider community on what value this kind of an engagement brought to you. Thank you for taking the time out. Mariel, we've been great partners over the last 4 years, Celonis and Mahindra. This is yet another demonstration of the kind of outcome that we are delivering together. So here's to more and more such successes. Thank you so much for joining on behalf of Celonis and sharing your perspectives and insights. And thanks once again, and wish everyone a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a really insightful session.